Hello, Roger Federer. So, first of all, let me just wish you a happy birthday because I didn't even get a chance to do that. As a fan, I really would have liked to have done something like a video on your birthday, but unfortunately, I absolutely couldn't do it. But hope you had an amazing birthday. And congratulations on your silver medal. I wanted you to know that as well. I think as a fan, I'm very proud of you and your medal. I know you worked hard for it. Um, I know you didn't get the result you wanted out of the Murray match. We all know that. But you know what? You were working. I feel like you were working with what you had, the capacity of what you had. And the thing is, what I read in an article is that you were having like some sort of issues managing all of the pressure emotionally. You came off a huge emotionally taxing match with Del Potro, and I totally get that. But again, I mean, that you're only going to get more of that as time goes on. Like, Del Potro is obviously clearly, um, he's clearly improving. So is Murray, even though it was really a lot more of your mistakes that you were making. I felt it was helping Murray win the match, obviously. A lack of intensity, a little lack of some form of focus. There was, like, one part of you, like, trying to apply yourself, but then there was just like something hovering about where you couldn't just get yourself in alignment. That's how I felt. So I guess my little cousin kind of felt the same way too. It's kind of funny. Oh my god. So yeah, it's very interesting. Although I would never call you lazy though. I think just toss that all off to the fact that she is just maybe 11 years into or 10 years into the English vocabulary, so vocabulary is still it's not as expansive as others. So anyway, just cough it up to that. But anyway, so what your lack of intensity that you explained in the Murray match, I would think would be the fact that you still aren't getting any help with your mental fitness, and that you are thinking that you can handle these things like on your own. And I imagine being out there and being in these high stakes matches and pretty much winning them and stuff like that, that you kind of start to think like, oh, I can handle this mentally. But I think the Olympics was a really good sort of, for lack of a better word, throwaway in a sense, for you to realize like there are going to be a lot of tough matches. Once again, like, especially being number one in the world, you're going to end up having, most likely, I think you may have Del Potro in your draw a lot more, even though it seemed like when you were number 3 in the world, you were going against him quite a bit. But according to the way that Wimbledon was set up, Wimbledon's draw was set up, I'm just going by Wimbledon's draw, like, Del Potro will be on your side of the draw as number 1 in the world. So, you'll have more harder matches with him. You'll have, you'll have him to get past, and he's developing, obviously. He's finally getting back on track with all his power, whatever, and accuracy, substantial accuracy. Now, I shouldn't talk about him like that, but I'm just saying. I'm kind of rambling on because there are people around, and I kind of feel funny talking. I don't feel like I'm like my normal self. Rambling a little bit more than usual, but yeah. So the fact of the matter is, what your comments about your match and being mentally drained was telling me that obviously you still have not decided to get help with your mental fitness, and you still do not feel like that is obviously something that you would need help with, and I mean, once again, like, being number 1 in the world, you're going to be going up against these guys, and there obviously are going to be a lot of long matches. Like, even just look at Rafa and look at, the last year. Like, I mean, you don't even have to look at Rafa. I'm just saying, like, you look at the rivalry between Rafa and Djokovic. 5-6 hour matches sometimes. Look at the rivalry, even like look at Djokovic, like back at Roland Garros, like a long 5-setter with Tsonga, almost ready to go out, didn't even know if he was going to be able to make it. Like, these guys are all top level, like, and I kind of like, Roger, you know this. It's like you're going to be most likely engaging in long stakes matches with these guys, not only this year but next year. And it's not to say like a negative statement in the future or anything like that, but I'm just saying, like, let's get realistic. And if you cannot handle it in the Olympics, like, you really have to, and you want to win and stay at number one in the world, you have got to take a hard look and really, like, getting a team to help you with this up here, And I think a good side about it is that you went through the Olympics match or whatever. You had that long setter that was mentally draining. I could imagine, and I'm totally with you on that, But then you were totally spent your whole mental bank account was completely spent. You were probably overdrawn, and then you had no focus for Murray, basically. It's not to say that you weren't 100% focused, but there was some lack of intensity there, There were errors, there were, different things like that. And it's not criticizing, again, it's just data. And it's a very good sign to take a look at it in the Olympics, which is not going to affect your ranking in the world, rather than carrying on this way how you've been and then just having it affect your ranking, like, and undoing all of the work you did at Wimbledon to get to number one by not getting yourself the help that you need. You practice very hard. You have a coaching team that helps you with your physique. You have a trainer, obviously a great trainer you've been working with since you were a kid, right? And I don't know what your diet is like, but I'm sure you have a nutritionist. Like, so why wouldn't you have somebody to help you up here? Seriously. Like, I get the fact that you handled this for many years, but as you can see, it's going to take more. And, you may decide that that's not right for you. And all I'm saying is that as you keep deciding that that's not right for you, you're going to keep, like, winning the silver medal. You're going to keep coming in second and stuff like that, because these guys are getting nothing but better. And it's not even the usual suspects. Now Del Potro is rising. Now, Isner's getting into stuff a little bit more-ish. Who's to say where Milos Raonic is going to be next year, like, in his game, or where Isner's going to be in his game, and how they'll improve, and where Del Potro's going to be in his game next year, given there are no injuries or anything like that. Like, really, you're going to have a lot of tough people to get through. Like, I don't know if there's any point in history where there's such a huge cluster of talent, but you got to look at what it took, even Rafa. I mean, even the typical usual suspects, Rafa, Djokovic, those people who don't mind slugging it out for 5 hours. Like, do you feel like, as number one in the world, you're going to take out the number 3 person? You got to take out Rafa, which is not only history, trauma, sort of, so to speak, like, traumatic history with Rafa. You have to deal with that mentally, and you have to deal with beating him in a Grand Slam, because all these people talk about how, oh, Roger hasn't beaten Rafa in a Grand Slam, blah. We know you could beat him, but you know what? You're going to have to tighten it up a little bit, like, really get real about what it's going to cost in order to do all of this, and, so you're going to have to get through Rafa, which is fine. You can do it, but mentally, how much you're going to spend to get there, can you get past Rafa? Can you get past the Tsonga all in the same draw? Or, can you get past the Murray? Can you get past the Del Potro only to face Djokovic in the finals? Like, this stuff, Roger, is going to keep happening. So you need to get help up here. And it's not saying that something is wrong up here. No. It is just about reaching out and getting a team of people, or a person who is used to giving someone the tools to be able to cultivate the mental resolve it takes to compete at a high level, to be able to focus, to be able to stay intense, and to be able to produce the right results. Gold medal. Number 1 in the world, I say, the longer you keep not doing this, and the more we're going to say, oh, congratulations, Roger Federer, for coming in second. I mean, that's real. It's not trying to be like rude or anything. Like, that's real. You are totally capable of doing this. And when you see someone totally capable of doing something, like being able to win that gold medal and didn't, that's just tough to swallow. Again, it's like the square peg through the round hole. So people look at that, and that's why that person, what was that person at the Olympics or whatever, in one match, I read in an article, yelled out to the crowd, not enough, Roger, like, people know that you could do better. They know that you have it in you. They know when you're underperforming, and maybe for you, you're like, screw y'all, screw you, and screw the world. I know what the hell I'm doing out there. None of you people are out there. Don't tell me I'm not doing enough. But, hey, people really believe in you, and I guess it just comes with the territory when you just achieve so much. People know you can do better and you can do more, and it's all about removing the blocks and obstacles of what you've been unwilling to change or taking some time, long time to change. And I think this is one of them. Like, that for me just let me know, like, you haven't really, I don't think you've gotten substantial help, like, in that area. Like, you haven't been building up your mental fitness. Sure, you've been working on it. Sure, you've been focusing point to point, which is great. I honor that. But it is going to take a little bit more. And if you don't see that now, you will see it as, number 1, having to go through tough ends of the draw, like getting through a Sangha, getting through a, I mean, most likely you won't have to, I guess, maybe Sangha and Rafa would like meet, and either one of them would take each other out. But I'm just saying, there's tough guys all along. There's the top 100 guys who are pretty tough, and then there's the top. I'm sorry, the 20 and below guys, like who are tough on a good day for them, and on a bad day for you. Or any good elite player, so to speak. And then there's the typical top 25, who could give you such a hard time, and who could take up a lot of real estate in the head, and who could consume a lot of mental juice, So by the time you get to the finals, there's a chance that you could be spent. So you've got to, like, start getting someone who's going to show you how to, like, not have your mind taxed so much, through your nerves and stuff like that, taxed so much, be such a taxation in a high stakes match. So you don't end up totally petered out when you finish the 4-hour match with the Del Potro, and now you're going on the Murray, but you're totally like, ooh, So I totally get it, and fortunately I did a video before this, but something happened, I had to get rid of it. And one of the points I made, I'll make it really quickly, is that when you have a bit of an analytical mind and you're kind of a thoughtful person, and this is what I kind of get from you based on, like, the way that you answer questions, you're very complete. Like, you can tell you're, at least for me, like, you're a thoughtful person. Like, the way that you answer questions, you always give, like, a complete spectrum. So having that type of mind, and I'm really shortening my point here, but having that sort of type of mind gives me the feeling that you have a bit of an analytical mindset, and that that is, like, actually, like, the gift and a curse, you know what I mean? And it's because when you have, and I know this personally myself, like, when you have an analytical mind, like, the mind is always kicking out data, like, oh my gosh, you could lose, oh my gosh, if you don't get this right, this is going to go wrong, oh my gosh, you just hit a hard ball, oh my gosh, you just have that kind of thing going on. See ya. And so you've got to really make a hard decision, not a difficult. Have a good one. Enjoy. You look so pretty. You have a really, you have make a hard decision, meaning not a difficult decision, but really making like a hard stop. Like, hey, I do need to do something where I'm like, get someone professional who works with people who can give you different ways to do stuff. So I don't want to spend like beating you in the head with that to death, but I do want to move on to something else. Rackets. That's another thing. So I want to read you this thing. My French is not ridiculously, my pronunciation isn't ridiculously great, and I need to find this article really quickly, but it's something that it just popped up on my Facebook actually, and it's about Rafa and and Sangha and Babolat racket or whatever. I don't know how to pronounce it really, and how it has a new technology, and it also will let like Rafa and anyone who plays with it, Joe Wilfred and Rafa, like know how hard they're hitting the ball or whatever. So I just want to read a little bit of this to you, since you are completely fluent in French, and if you are able to understand my accent, you will be able to see what these men are doing and why, you're going to need to tighten up every single corner of your game, Roger. Like, you can't go into the game like not having the mental support, because these are tough competitors. Like, and then they're playing with higher technology than you're playing on your racket. Maybe the head of their racket is bigger. I heard you play with a smaller racket. But anyway, here we go. Les nouvelles technologies s'invitent dans le tennis. En effet, le Marc Babolat a créé une raquette intelligente qui va permettre aux joueurs, I'm sorry, it's been a really long time since I've spoken French, so I probably am very awful, so please, everyone, forgive me, especially my French people. Pardon. Qui va permettre aux joueurs de consulter des données très précises. Des capteurs intégrés dans la raquette vont enregistrer toutes ces données. Les joueurs pourront le consulter directement sur leur ordinateur. Ainsi, Rafael Nadal et Jo-Wilfried Tsonga pourront voir comment ils frappent la balle, la puissance, la vitesse, la percussion, la répartition des coups sur la raquette. Autant données utilisées pour s'améliorer ou corriger son jeu. Okay, look, correcting their game is what I get out of this. Hitting the ball, flapping the ball, the power, the speed, the precision, I guess. Listen, Roger, look at what these people are working with. All I'm saying is, like, you're gonna play with a racket that doesn't have as much technology, and on top of that, the mental game, you're gonna be like doing this on your own. Roger, seriously? The Olympics was a beautiful precursor and a savior. Like, seriously? Yes, you can get silver. Yes, you are talented. But to keep doing this, and if you really want to continue on with really making a deep mark in the continuation of your career, like, you're going to have to get real about some stuff. And I really say that to you lovingly as a fan. Like, seriously, you're going to have to realize some stuff. And random point, I really apologize for the bad lighting in this video. Sorry about that. But anyway, so that's one thing. Having said all of that, I'm really, I want to just switch and just say I am very proud of you as a fan that you did win silver, so I don't want to kind of confuse the point. I'm very proud of you as a fan. I feel like you played some really tough matches, especially coming through the first match. You could have really decided to, like, let that match go, and you kept in there, and I am so proud of you as a fan, and I just that's the Roger Federer I want to see, just fighting and keeping things simple. And you know, it's so unfortunate now because I read some of the articles and then I feel like, maybe my videos or things that other people are saying, or the fact that so many people want you to win so bad and we feel really bad, like, if you don't win or something like that. And so now you feel, maybe you have to say, like, don't feel bad for me. Like, that was something that you said at the end of the article that I read the other day. Like, don't feel bad for me. I feel good about where I am and stuff like that. I feel awful, like, to a certain extent, like, don't feel all of this pressure. Like, we want you to win or whatever, and that's great. But, at the end of the day, don't want you to really, like, carry all of these, like, feeling like you're carrying the cross. If I don't win, all these people are going to be so disappointed or whatever. Or they're going to feel bad for me. Oh, like, that's, like, another burden for you. Like, that really sucks. That's, like, the last thing you need to have on your mind. Like, you just need to be able to get on the court, do what you're supposed to do. Practice, deal with your family, get on the court, have fun, get past these competitors. That's all the pressure you need to deal with. You don't need to be dealing with too much from us like that. So I do kind of feel bad, but I guess it's all about how you manage it. And I do have to say, like, I'm so proud of you, and you did what you needed. You did what you could do within your capacity. And if anything, like, once you got to, you played all of your matches hard. I didn't see every single one of them, of course, because of time constraints, but if you got past Del Potro, in a 4-hour match, like, you stood in there. I don't feel like that's something you went away from. You fought, you stood in there, and it took a lot. It takes a lot mentally, and I understand that, to hold the line, to stand the heat in that kitchen, so I really acknowledge all of that. But all that I'm saying in this video is that, you're going to have a lot of matches like that because a lot of these guys are getting better. Now you're number one in the world, so you're going to have to be going through even more. I mean, it's not like it's much different than it was before when you were at number 2 and number 3 in the world, but I'm just saying, like, you pretty much, you have people working with a lot of technology in their rackets and stuff like that. You have guys who are bigger than you, who are hitting the ball with a lot more pace on it, a lot more speed, and to a certain extent on a more consistent basis. It's not saying that you don't have power, you don't hit the ball with speed. But, I mean, are you really, in my last video, I don't know if you saw, but I just, like, respectfully asked you to consider thinking about using a different racket. Like, seriously. Like, again, the example that I used was, when someone is playing, like, in an orchestra, they use the absolute best instrument, If I'm a flute player, and I actually am, I'm going to try to get the flute that produces the absolute best sound, and that doesn't have to do with cheating or anything like that. It's just lending brilliance with brilliance to create the highest ability. So when it comes to a tennis racket, I realize that there's tradition and stuff like that, but, I think you should look at that. I don't really see a difference in getting a racket that's going to help put more pace on it, less stress on your body, and a little more pace on the ball with a little not that doesn't require, like, exerting so much energy, because then it's like you're exerting so much energy, you're already mentally spent, which happened in the Olympics. Now you have to exert all this energy. Now you have to make sure you're serving hard, serving fast all the time, like you're doing all of this on your own. And then you have other guys who are working with higher technology, so to speak. So, just think about what I said. I will post the link to that article in case I know I kind of read that like a 5th grader. I read that French like a little, probably even lower than that. I'm sure the 5th graders in France are reading way better than I am. So, yeah, but You know, U.S. Open's coming up, and then you have to think about you're going to be defending points next year and stuff like that. And now, if you really could take this far, Roger, you know, you really could do that. But it's all about what you want, you know. And it's just really not much more to say after that. But good luck, and yeah, just take a grain of salt what my cousin said, you know, earlier, my little cousin. It's very interesting, though, because she and we did not talk at all before I turned the camera on. She said she wanted to talk about the Olympics. We were just doing a practice session. And then she started talking about tennis. I never thought she was going to talk about tennis, so it was really interesting. So, yeah, take that with a sort of grain of salt. But also take that impression too. Like, she's never seen any one of your matches before this. You know, she came in and she felt like you weren't 100% focused. Never mind all of the balls in the pocket that she was talking about, but something about the intensity wasn't there, you know. That's just an impression from an outsider, you know, and a child at that. So it's really interesting to look at the fact that, you know, again, if you hadn't been so mentally spent in the Del Potro match, you know, you would have been more available for that, to take that gold medal, which really should have been yours, but it's okay. You know, I totally get where you're coming from, and I know that you did all you could within your capacity. I saw you trying to play hard in that match against Murray, but something just wouldn't turn on. Like, it just was something there. Like, I saw a part of you trying, but there was just some other part of you that just was like, eh. You know, like, I saw you trying. I actually really did. So, you know, for me, that said, oh, okay, Roger still hasn't. Come on, Roger. You know I love you as a fan. Come on. Love you like a brother. So I have to say, like, you know how I feel. Like, you take a long time to, like, change stuff. And I'm saying that lovingly. I'm just saying, you know, like, don't be mad at me because I'm saying this. But a lot of people feel this way. Like, you know, and, like, Michael Gervais, call him, please. Michael Gervais, pinnacle-pro.com, I think it is. Call him. So anyway, again, I'm very proud of you as a fan. No, seriously. Like, silver medal, awesome. Good job. I feel that you did what you could given the tools that you had. Those matches weren't easy matches to get through. They took a lot, but I feel like you tried the whole way. So kudos to you. I'm so proud of you as a fan. All I'm saying is now is what I usually have been saying. It costs a little more, and I want to see you win. That's the only reason why I'm making such a big deal about this. I want to see you win. I want to see you be, like, really happy. And so, you know, you're going to have to realize, like, if you were mentally spent after the Del Potro match, what do you think is going to happen all the times you go up against Del Potro? The only difference is going to be that's not going to be the Olympics. It's going to be your ranking and your points at stake. So the Olympics was really like a blessing and a savior in time. So, Roger, you need a team of people to help you mentally. You know what I mean? It's not saying something's wrong with you mentally. There's a complete difference between that. So I don't know if that's something that you're construing that way, but, you know, I think really getting your mental fitness up tight, seriously, tight. Because look at Rafa and all his technology with the rackets and carrying on, and Joe Wilfred Songa and whoever else plays with the bobble lot, you know. And I realized that some parts of that article some parts of it I couldn't completely understand, so it might not be as much of a big deal, but for me it is a big deal. You know, when people are looking at when they're creating analytics about how they're playing, how hard they're hitting the ball, the power, the force, the precision, and they're looking at that through a computer, which is what I understood that article to say, is that, Roger, you know, that's less time for them to spend on the court, and that's more time for them to be acutely focused on what they need to do in order to beat you. Where are they hitting balls a little bit off? What plays are happening so that they're hitting the balls off? They've got a computer spitting out analytics, you know? And really, like, these are the guys you're going to be going up against, who are going to be fine-tuning all of their little mistakes, and it's going to save them so much more time. You're going to be doing it all old school if you keep up this way. 5 hours on the court, you know, or kind of trying to remember in your mind, oh, okay, I came to net, I messed up this way, blah, 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 and then, you know, he forced a volley or whatever. You know what I mean? You're going to be doing this all the old way, old-fashioned way in your head. You have Rafa, you have Joe Wilfred Songa looking at a printout of their percentages of, you know, like how hard they're hitting, you know, cross court shot or whatever, and how the percentage and the accuracy of which, you know, when they're in the forecourt, how well they do then, and then in the backcourt, how well they do then. This is what you're going to be up against. Not only just playing with guys who are constantly practicing as much as you are and trying to improve themselves, but actually now working with a lot of technology, which is going to save them a lot of time on the court. So they can just go on the court and say, oh, you know what? I need to work on this shot. Let me keep going, you know, or whatever. So just please think about that, like, seriously. Or I'm telling you right now, I'm saying this because, you know, I care about you as a fan. You are going to start seeing more silver medals than gold. If you don't really shape it up and, like, make a hard stop and go, I need to do something with my racket, and maybe that's not the right answer for you, you know what I mean? But something, Roger, something, and just realize what these other guys are doing. It's not to say, like, oh, jump on the bandwagon or anything like that, but really, at least get the mental fitness up, because you are going to be going up against the elite guys, like, and how many hours are you going to be going up against them, and how many matches are you going to be having to get through, you know? And then you've got these guys again who are already working with all this technology and stuff like that, and you're not doing that. So, you know, it's going to take more time. It's taking up more of your time to be on the court and trying to remember what analytics or whatever, you know, when they're Rafa and Joe Wilfred's getting it spit out from a computer and percentages, and, you know, where the intensity of their game drops at one point, and what makes it drop, and where does it intensify or whatever. So I'm just saying, I know I repeated myself a few times, but think about that. Good luck at everything. Good luck with everything. I think you're in Cincinnati, actually, right? Is that right? Or were you taking a rest? I couldn't really understand that. Again, it was another article in French. I couldn't understand it. It was saying something about Joe Wilfred Songa hurting his right knee, and it seemed like you were going to be taking his place. I don't get it. I didn't get it. So, whatever. Anyway, good luck with everything, and just keep up the very good work. You know, overall, you're doing an excellent job. Just touch up the little things, and then you're going to totally stay at the top. Talk to you. Have a good one.